Hey gang, welcome to Rocket Sauce. I'm your big boy, Jamie Hodges.
And I'm Jesse Hodges.
Wait, big boy?
It's big today. It's big boy. Tomorrow, tomorrow might be a little boy.
Whatever you're feeling,
We never know what kind of boys will turn up on this podcast.
guys. I am also Matt Adams, and you can welcome me to the podcast.
Well, how about you welcome us by just sort of giving us a rundown? Like, I don't even know what we're talking about today. Like, just sort of lay it out for me.
All right. So today, on the first ever episode of Rocket Sauce, we are going to, of course, recap DC's Fandome. And we're going to begin with a little bit of Wonder Woman 1984. Then we're going to move on to some Gotham Knights. We're going to talk about the multiverse and the Flash movie. Then we're going to move into some Suicide Squad. Talk a little bit about Pennyworth, not too much. Go into some Static Shock. Talk about some Zack Snyder edition of Justice League. You know, got to talk about that Snyder cut. See how we're feeling about that. Then we're going to talk about The Flash a little bit more. Black Adam, Titans, Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And, of course, we have to talk about it. The coup de grace, the cherry on top, the Batman.
Are you boys ready to get, like, real sloppy?
What?
No, because, like, all right. No, like, I say sloppy, like, as a very positive adjective. Because what I mean is, and I cannot put enough emphasis on this because I'm super just excited about it. This is our first. It will be sloppy, but it's going to be sloppy the way, like, you know how, like, a sloppy Joe, it doesn't look very good, but it just slides down your throat real nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you're going to make a mess, but you're also probably going to be like, oh, dang, I could really probably have a second sloppy Joe right now.
And that's episode 2.
Episode 2, you're coming back for seconds. You're not going to let us slap down your throat and not come back for more. We're taking it to the dome, boys.
The Fandome, as I heard. Can I just say, you know, Matt, it was an impressive list. I guess it's all DC. Here at Rocket Sauce, it's all DC all the time, at least for the next hour of your time. You did mention Black Adam, and can I just say the first thing that popped in my head was they should have just called it Matt Adam.
Yeah, because I'm, me, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, basically the same guy.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson? Is that what you said?
Rock your socks, Johnson.
Rocket Sauce.
Rocket Sauce Johnson.
Rocket Sauce your Johnson in your socks.
Rocket Swanson.
Rocket Swanson?
All right, this is really getting ahead of us.
So wait, all right. So are we going in order? What was the first order on this list?
We're gonna start with Wonder Woman 1984.
Never heard of her.
Any initial thoughts? Anybody?
I got something I want to talk about, but actually I'm really curious to hear what Jamie thinks, having just watched it. Like, I've watched it 100 times. Yeah, I know Jesse has seen it a bunch of times, but I want to hear the perspective of someone who, like, literally just watched it. And, like, how's it feel, like, with it still, like, touching the top of your mouth?
It feels good, Jeff. I mean, I know we were coming in for the home run there at the end, and it was looking a little bit hairy, but I think we really pulled through as a team.
Who the fuck is Jeff?
What the fuck are you saying?
I felt like it seemed like the appropriate response because I felt like you were asking me like a sport, like we just won the.
Oh yeah.
You're like, how does it feel?
How's it looking down there on the field, Jamie?
I want to know your thoughts because it's freshest in your mind.
Well, okay. Having just watched it, I'm gonna give my full. I'm gonna put my whole thing down, lay it all. I'm gonna let it roll out on the table. I was already like super into the first Wonder Woman movie. There's a lot of other people I could have seen in that role, not like discrediting Gal Gadot at all, and that's what I'm leading up to. Is like she fucking rocks it. Like I think it's great because like not only does she like have the look, like the stunning look, but like also she definitely looks like a woman that could kick anyone's ass, and I'm into that.
I thought you were gonna just say she definitely looks like a woman and stop.
I mean, I think like she, I mean, she looks like a woman, so she's got it. You got the part. You're going to
that's
Hollywood.
and that's what I thought about the trailer is that she looked like a woman to me.
I was wondering how she looked like a woman, and that video kind of just nailed it.
Yeah.
No,
Jesse, what about you?
No, that wasn't.
Oh, you're not done. You're not done. Okay.
I did not say not a word about Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You just said she looked like a woman.
Let him finish. Let him finish, please.
I'm super excited about the premise that it is like they make sure you know exactly when it takes place, and it puts a lot of emphasis on, as if you didn't know already from like the other films that have come out, i.e., Batman versus Superman or Justice League. Like obviously Wonder Woman's been around for a while, so this is a really cool concept that like I guess like Marvel kind of did in regards to something like the Wolverine franchise, but we really like don't like to talk about that too much. So I'm interested to see how they execute it. One thing I'm excited about, and you can't guarantee it happens on every movie, especially with these big budget pictures, because you know they do like a lot of filming and stuff in Vancouver. The three of us can confirm undoubtedly that like when you see like the streets of DC, like that was filmed like just an hour and a half up the street from us. Like Gal Gadot was like kicking ass and like riding the fucking lightning up in Washington DC, like on the tip.
Yeah, if you didn't mention that, I was definitely going to say, like, how fucking badass is it seeing her literally lassoing the lightning and riding it in?
Like I'm not sure. Here's the thing. I'm not like an incredible Wonder Woman fan. Like I'm aware of her, especially within the entity of like the Justice League, obviously. And I don't know if she can do that or not, but if she can't, like who fucking cares?
She can because she does. She
Well,
did.
like,
She already did it.
No, but like visually, it's just like so cool.
You know what's cool is we just came up with like a subtitle for our podcast. It's Rocket Sauce Lasso the Lightning.
Lasso the lightning, baby.
I like it.
Also, you know, there's a lot of mystery going on. We see the return of, oh god, Chris Pine as what did we decide his name was?
Steve Trevor. His name's Steve Trevor.
I know. For some reason, I kept.
Yeah. So since you're already going to go into it, let me just quickly say that that's what I was waiting for, as I was going to bring up the topic that, like, obviously we saw him die.
Right.
You know, and it was a very, and writing wise, like, you know, speaking, you know, as a writer myself, you know, his arc was written that he, you know, he died a hero. It was a very valid death. They don't have to, nothing says that he had to be brought back. It, you know, and the fact that he is brought back just brings so many questions. Not that I'm not happy to see him. I love his character. As far as the all the material that we've gotten through the trailers and like anything else, anything involving him has definitely been like the comedic relief. And, you know, it's very funny. But we have to get down to the root of why he's back and what does it mean.
Yeah, but I like, man, it sucks. Like, because I have thoughts on that already, and I think it means that I'm gonna cry. Not like right now, but I mean like in the movie, because we like, all right, we've already introduced our villain, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know his name. I'm gonna have to do like a quick check on that because obviously he's got to be a pre-existing bad guy, but he's making all these promises like, you know, I can make you whatever you want, like your deepest desires, and that's kind of like the intro to Kristen Wiig's character and how she ends up ultimately like matching Wonder Woman later on, and it looks like we'll see that evolution. But my theory is, you know, like that has something to do with the ultimate plot, almost to infiltrate Wonder Woman on a personal level. I think it's a cruel joke and like we're gonna spend the whole movie falling in love with Chris Pine again, like just being a cute dumbass because like not only is he hanging out with a mythical fucking creature, but he's also like out of his time period. So we'll get some of the same like kind of sort of context, like time sensitive contextual.
Like we're gonna have to say goodbye to him again, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt just as much.
Do you think Chris Pine? You know, Jamie, you mentioned you would probably cry during this movie, and I think Wonder Woman also. It's got to have made Chris Pine cry a little bit, right? Like he gets a call from DC, and he's like, "It's my time to shine. I've been an action hero. How many times now? Look at the Star Trek movies." And he's like, "I'm gonna be a superhero now, baby." Yeah. Like, can you just be like this dead pilot for us?
real
he
quick.
Thought he was gonna suit up or something. I'm sure of it.
Well, he's basically the opposite of a damsel in distress.
He's like he is the male damsel, and what's cool is, and don't quote me on this, but I'm like 99%. Obviously, he's a comic book character, like for sure, but I'm 99% sure that's pretty much the role he played in like the Wonder Woman TV show.
Oh yeah,
it is. I've seen it actually.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
Obviously, I don't think there was a nude scene back in those times.
Is there a nude scene in these times?
Well, yeah. She wants to like. She's like checking out Chris Pine's junk.
No, there is a nude scene for real. There is definitely a nude scene because when you see because when you see it in the trailer, you see full frontal Kristen Wiig as Cheetah.
No, I'm talking about
she's naked.
The first Wonder Woman movie.
Oh,
Chris Pine nude.
Oh yeah, that's that's true.
Oh, when he's like in the jacuzzi.
Yeah, and Cheetah. She doesn't have like human bits anymore.
I know, but am I wrong? There's nudity in the trailer. Am I wrong?
I mean, in that sense, like, is Madagascar like? Are all those animals doing full frontal?
Fucking A.
Madagascar should not be for kids.
It is.
It's basically pornography.
For kids, for children.
It's basically bestiality.
It's basically kids bop.
All right, so now that we've tainted this, or now that I've tainted this,
what's next?
Maybe we should, say, let Wonder Woman be and move on a little bit, because obviously, we're excited. We're real. Actually, let me just say really, because we touched on. Real quick, we will move on in a second, but I feel like we would be doing it a disjustice if we didn't mention Pedro Pascal.
What's he doing?
Stepping up, like, he's like, so we get him, he's kind of making a big uprising right now. Obviously Game of Thrones, we loved him in Game of Thrones. Then of course, we love him in The Mandalorian. Like,
now what's he doing?
And and so now he's gonna be big baddie in Wonder Woman 1984.
I don't think he's the big baddie. I think it's that old dude on TV that's making promises.
I know, but I think he is the bit. I think he's. Well, I mean, isn't he going to be like the main antagonist though? There is Cheetah, but isn't he the one behind the nude?
No, I think it's that old guy that's on TV.
Oh, but isn't that Pedro Pascal?
No, that's some just old white dude.
Are you sure? Because he's got like lots of.
Jamie's right. It's the old white dude.
Oh. I just watched it.
That's true. That's true. All right.
Pedro is playing Maxwell Lord, whoever that is.
Well, all right. Well, either way, I wanted to touch on him, and then I also, wanted to give a shout out to Patty Jenkins stepping up and, doing her thing the second time around. Yeah, she's directing. So
I thought so.
Yeah, she's gonna kill it. We know she's gonna kill it. All right, moving on.
What's next?
We're gonna switch, change of pace. We're gonna move from movies to video games. All right, so we've got Gotham Knights coming out very soon. What do y'all think? For first look, I'll tell you what, because I haven't really said much.
That's the one with the Bat fam, right?
Yeah, so it looks like you're basically going to be playing as like everyone except Batman. So if you watch the footage that they released, it's a little bit of a pre-alpha build level where they're going through and defeating Mr. Freeze, at least probably not the final time, but at least some point in the game. I think they said it's about 75% through his storyline. And it looked pretty good to me. You get to play as, go ahead, Jesse, hit us with the different characters.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the whole Bat fam. There's Batgirl, there's Red Hood, you've got Nightwing, and Robin. When I say Robin, I mean it's Damian Wayne, Batman's son. In the gameplay session, you see Red Robin, but I've also seen gameplay of Nightwing, so I believe you'll just have different skins. I've noticed different skins for Batgirl as well. So yeah, you've got the four Bat fam members you get to play as, and you can do the whole campaign as a single player playthrough, or you can do the whole thing as co-op, which I'm certainly looking forward to. I've already got friends who are interested in playing through with me. I think one of the more interesting things about this is we were talking about them when they were first revealed. And Matt, you mentioned that you weren't as excited for Suicide Squad as you were Gotham Knights. And what I found interesting about that is, after doing some digging, Gotham Knights is not actually made by Rocksteady, who designed the Arkham games. Which you would think, if it were, which Suicide Squad is, you would be more excited for that.
Suicide Squid.
Suicide Squids. That's the sequel.
Dude, I want to play. I want to play that fucking game.
Anyway, but the point is, it's made by Warner Bros. Montreal, who did Arkham Origins, which I thought was a good addition to the Arkham series. So yeah, I mean, I'm very hopeful for it. I think it's going to be a good game. It looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is interesting, and I think very obviously, like the gameplay, like who you're playing with, I think will be situational. Like it'll change like constantly throughout the story. But this isn't the first time we've seen this like within the Arkham games, because we've kind of like dipped into this territory before with missions having to deal with like multiple characters. Like sometimes you'd play as Batman and Robin and be able to switch between the characters, or you'd also there's scenarios with Batman and Catwoman where you kind of use each one's abilities again, like situationally, because like you'd be like infiltrating, like I don't know, like the GCPD, but like maybe you need some like extra stealth, so you're like, no, I gotta switch to Catwoman and go like unlock this door, you know.
Yeah, I could see that playing a factor. You would need different characters for different situations, and we just in the gameplay trailer we just saw Robin like drop in like out of nowhere. So I wonder.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. Like, do they have it where like someone can just jump in at any time? Because that'd be awesome.
That
like
would
if you're
be awesome.
already playing and then your friend gets on and it's like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm about to fuck up Mr. Freeze. Drop in. You know.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Do we have like I know we all watched it, so like we're taking it at face value, but like Matt, I know you've got some notes around there. Do we have like any actual like information?
I haven't done any
not really. The game is technically still in development.
I mean, I'll say like immediately after they showed the game footage, like they did. I mean, I watched a lot of it, and they were talking a lot with the developers on a technical level and on like a design.
So here's the thing: there's going to be another one of these another one of these DC Fandome things happening in September, and I think that's where they're going to show us more.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
I mean, and I'm
kind of just have to like wait.
Well, I don't know, like. I don't know how much you guys know. Like, obviously, we're all somewhat well versed on different levels of like the Batman universe. How much do you guys like actually know about what would seem to have like a lot of play in this storyline, which is the Court of Owls?
Was there a question?
Yeah, like how much do you guys know about
Why don't you tell us what's on the tip of your
How
tongue?
about you tell me? Tell me what you know.
Well,
Because
no,
you got something. You have something cooking in there.
Well, no, there's nothing cooking. I just think it's a really interesting that like we've seen it play out in the comics, and they may have even done it in animation. I know it's also even been touched on lightly in the Gotham TV series that was done by Fox. But and actually, we're like for fan theory reasons, we will be touching on this particular secret underground club later in the podcast. But the Court of Owls essentially, like, you know how like you guys on a basic Batman knowledge level think like obviously there's like these crime lords that there are certain ones that control everything in regards to like the Falcones and other like very
Illuminati.
very industrious like families within Gotham. You know how they have like pool within the system.
Right.
The Court of Owls are the people that are actually above them. And that what's interesting about that is from a story standpoint, it sheds a different light on like why the Waynes were killed, and also like almost some moral questions, because you find out that like they were very as a large family within Gotham, they were very involved with the Court of Owls and thusly like connecting Bruce. So I think that has a lot to do with like his death, if he's even dead. Like I've got ideas about that too. Like what if something could have just happened, and that's essentially the story. Like
well, I'll tell you, we're gonna have to get Jesse to let us know, because I will probably buy the game and not finish it.
But
But that's not like a slight on the game. That's just because I suck.
Okay. Well, no, but we were talking about this yesterday while we were streaming, and we joked that it was because it's a single player game. And Matt, you're like notorious for not finishing single player games, but like if what we're talking about is true, then like it might have more playability to you. Like if it, like with that co-op and stuff, especially if it's like online.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure.
So we'll see. I don't know. There is a chance that Matt might finish this game
with help from my friends.
I will say I have been reading up on it, and what is interesting is they're talking about different play styles you can have.
Okay.
So say you're playing, like maybe I'm playing as Robin and Jamie jumps in as Batgirl. What's interesting is there's going to be different skill trees you can progress through, like many RPG systems have. So where Jamie may choose one path to go up with as Batgirl. If Matt jumps in as Batgirl, he may be going up a different path because he likes playing Batgirl a little bit differently than Jamie might. So you have different experiences while you're playing with different people. I also read that you can actually play as the same character if you want, which I think is a little fourth wall breaking, but
a little bonkers. But if we're talking online play, like,
yeah. So I thought those were interesting. I didn't see any news on whether it's like drop in, drop out scenario.
We'll keep our eye on it. We'll find out more about it in September. But it seems very complex, much like our next topic. You guys like that? You see that? See the segue? See the segue?
That was good, but I'm about to fuck your segue up so hard.
Oh my god!
Why would
no, like no, I'm not. I just had like I had a really killer idea, and I just need to back up for a second and like put it out there in the universe. Like with everything we're talking about, like with like two Batgirls and stuff. What if they made like a Spider-Verse game that was online co-op, and you could play as like different Spider-Mans?
That'd be pretty cool for the Marvel fandom.
Right. I know.
The podcast that we do about Marvel. That would be awesome.
I know it's completely off topic, but I thought it was such a good idea.
They do have a Spider-Man game. I think it's called like Shattered Dimensions or something. Or
I do remember that one. Yeah.
But that was like on PS2 or something. Or maybe it lacks the online play, like you mentioned. Like, let's do Gotham Knights, but Spider-Man. You're saying
that Spider-Man, yeah.
But also, if you'd have to make them. I mean, I guess it's the same thing as Batman. I was about to say, but like, how different can each Spider-Man really be? But if they can do it for Batman characters, I'm sure they can do it.
Exactly.
Batman. Yeah.
Speaking of different dimensions.
Oh, snap.
See that?
I can't.
That brings us to our next topic. And actually, for time-wise, because we got a little carried away, I'm going to combine our next topic and the next one after that, because they're basically the same thing. Right now, I'd like to talk about the multiverse and the new Flash movie. As far as the TV show goes, really all they've told us is that there's going to be, well, they've teased that there's going to be more crossover between the Arrowverse and the DCEU. So that's really all we know about the show. Like, they kind of built it up, but at the end of the day, they're kind of teasing more Ezra Miller. What?
Okay, no, you're leading into, like, I just needed some clarification. I think you're getting there.
Yeah, I'm leading there. I'm getting there. So as far as the TV, because then we're going to talk about the movie, and they're coincide. All right. So with the show, really all they've told us is that we're probably going to get more Ezra Miller. It's Miller time. Ezra Miller on the show. And that's really it. And it's just a tease, so they're not really saying for sure. But I mean, if they're going to bring it up, it's probably going to happen. And it will coincide because, like, now we're going to talk about the movie and Flashpoint, which that I think is definitely that's been confirmed, right? It's definitely going to be Flashpoint.
Oh yeah, they've been working on that for a long time. The Flash potentially has been in some sort of development even before, like, Justice League.
So one thing I thought was interesting in researching this topic for the podcast the other night is so we by now everyone has heard that Michael Keaton is being speculated as being involved.
That's confirmed.
Confirmed, speculated, but what is new to me, I should say, is that we might also get Ben Affleck's Batman as well.
No, but like
that's confirmed.
That is confirmed.
I know that's confirmed. I'm saying that's what's new to me as far as between researching for this podcast and what I thought I knew a week ago.
It's fun. What was it you were telling me earlier about Ben, Jesse, while we were eating?
Which is sort of what a fantastic guy I think he is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know he seems unapproachable, but he's incredibly charming. But that wasn't it. We were talking about something else. You were telling me like what's actually like Ben Affleck as Batman is obviously like fucking.
Oh yeah, incredible. An article popped up. I happened to click on it. And the cool thing about Ben Affleck reprising his role in The Flash actually sets a record. Ben Affleck will now be have more on-screen appearances as Batman than any other actor, and that means in different projects. I'm sure he probably doesn't stand a chance against like Adam West or Kevin Conroy, but he'll have been in 4 different motion pictures: that's Batman vs Superman, Justice League, Suicide Squad, and The Flash. So all those combined sets a record. Way to go, Ben Affleck! Please,
yeah!
Please,
hell yeah!
Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah!
Is there any confirmation on? I've been hearing that there might be like a more adult-oriented Batman series starring Ben Affleck somewhere.
Well, okay. This is what is happening. That is a speculation.
Jamie knows.
No, I know a few things, and part of this will also lead into some of our discussion later.
Yeah.
But one thing that is absolutely happening on HBO is there will be a GCPD series similar in fashion to what we got on Fox, like I mentioned earlier, out of Gotham. But this will be directly connected to the new Matt Reeves like Batman universe. Like, this will be that same Gotham, that same police department. And it's my understanding that while Matt Reeves' Batman takes place kind of like in year 2-ish, actually, like the GCPD series will be more like Batman year 1, actually. Now, in regards to Ben Affleck and Batman exclusively, it's an interesting fact to note that Ben Affleck has signed a contract with HBO in regards to Batman. We do not know what that means yet. But paperwork has been, like, deals have been made that include that go on for the future inclusion of Ben Affleck as Batman, which is totally worth celebrating. Like, opinions aside, I know a lot of people like rag on Ben, but like, how many times have we gone back and watched that warehouse fight scene from Batman versus Superman? Like, tell me that's not as close to a comic worthy Batman.
I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites. Like,
we've never seen something like that before. I mean, he like it's just Batman. It's everything we want out of it. So I cannot express how excited I am to see more of Ben.
Can I be, guys? Let's cut. I want to cut the shit here. Can I be honest with you?
No.
Next topic.
Well, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Because the Flash. I mean, we're that's really the only news from Flash. Other than we get kind of a glimpse of a new suit.
That's not what I was gonna say. No, Jamie said I couldn't say what I wanted to say.
No, what were you gonna say, Jesse? I'm sorry.
I mean, I wanted to say like I like blacked out.
What? During what?
I blacked out earlier.
On what?
The podcast.
Are you still blacked out?
No. You know what happened was Matt just started talking about like the DC like TV verse.
Yeah.
And my brain just shut off. I was like,
decided he didn't give a shit.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm clocking out.
Well, the thing is to be honest and fair to our listeners, I don't care about it either. But there really wasn't that much to be said about the show itself. Like all they really they said a lot, but all they really the footnote is that Ezra Miller might be on some more episodes. I mean, that's really it. That's why I went right into the movie after that. That's why I'm kind of combined the two topics. And as far as the movie goes, I mean, we've already nailed it. Like, Michael Keaton, maybe Ben Affleck. It's obviously, and the reason why, in case any of our listeners just have no clue what Flashpoint means or is.
It's illegal.
Basically, we're going to be getting lots of timey white. It's going to have a very time travel-y nature, but not only that, but the Flash is also going to be transcending through multiple realities. That's what the multiverse is, and through his travels, he's going to come across different versions of himself. Different versions of Batman, probably other people as well. It would be hard to believe, these are the big ones, but it'd be hard to believe that we're not going to see like alternate reality versions of other characters that we know, big or small. So,
well, what I think is neat is this is also an opportunity, especially because it is tied to the TV universe. Like, none of us keep up with it, but we're aware of it. So there are certain staple characters that are like a big deal. Like, it would be cool if you utilize the Flash to see things like cinematic Green Arrow. You know what I mean? And since we're establishing this multiverse, it doesn't matter that it's not the Green Arrow from TV, because now we're introducing this new character to the cinematic universe. And he just gets like a little touch. Like, you don't have to run off with that. And that brings me to another theory, because a lot of people, I think, are super excited for Michael Keaton to come back, right? But anytime I see a Photoshop or something in regards to this, they always stick like Michael Keaton in his costume, which is really cool. We'd love to see him don the cowl again, but I have a suspicion that this is another way to include a cinematic character that a lot of people have wanted for a long time, that has been rumored within like the past year or two. But I think it would be really cool to see Michael Keaton as old Bruce Wayne in this universe that he's visiting, is the Batman Beyond universe.
Yeah.
So we get
I want to see Terry McGinnis too, but I feel like this is a situation where that's too cool and Hollywood's going to let us down.
I want to know what the guy who does the voice looks like. Could he play Terry?
No,
that's Corey's brother from Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
That means nothing to me.
Oh my
Really?
God. Get your done.
Get your done.
You're not gonna be in the Boy Meets World podcast.
No.
Yeah. I'll
canceled.
black out during that segment.
But to answer your question, he's like older than me. You know, he's
Bummer. Well,
Yeah.
Matt,
Well,
you're only 32.
I
no,
know,
but they're
but he's probably like 40 something.
well, and for some reason, I think, and like, I don't want to step out of line here, but I think a lot of fan interpretations of Terry are more like a POC anyway, like a person of color. There's this
Maybe, but I was actually when I first heard Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, my first thought was maybe Terry McGinnis.
I mean, no, he wouldn't look bad at all.
Like, but
He looks great.
you know,
So-
but we'll get to that point. And speaking of which, we probably should move on to the next
Please,
topic.
I'm dying.
Suicide Squad is next. Now, here's the thing.
Let's browse through that.
We're gonna
breeze it.
power through this because really the big thing here is that the first Suicide Squad, obviously, if the first Suicide Squad movie was a food, okay, and I happened to taste it, I would immediately try and eat some shit off the ground just to get the taste out of my mouth.
That's pretty.
Wait a minute, Matt. I haven't heard you say this about
The
anything.
I
ever.
I know.
You're saying that's the worst movie you've ever seen? I find
Almost.
that-
Okay, no.
Almost.
All right,
Almost.
Wait. No, before we wipe our ass completely with the first Suicide Squad, can I also take a moment to say that the first 10 minutes of Suicide Squad,
That is the
So
only thing I
far-
like.
but it has been one of the best Batman shorts ever made.
Yeah, no, that's why it was such a tease. Like, because it's the beginning of the movie. So when I was in the theater and I was watching that, like, I was like on the verge of climax, and then the rest of the movie, it's like then they just stopped.
Guys, I have to stop you here
Why?
because this is something I actually wanted to bring up in the podcast. I don't know if it would be today. I didn't know if it would be in episode 2, but I think it's a good time to bring it up. I learned about this, and this may be a super future segment I'll be bringing to the podcast. But this is something I learned that was trending on Urban Dictionary today, and it's mostly used for describing certain movies, but it could be anything. The term that I'm keeping you on the edge of your seat for is called nuking the fridge, which I believe Suicide Squad had done to us. Jamie, are you aware of this?
No, but I understand the reference.
Well, Matt, let me explain it to you. Nuking the fridge is a term that derives from the latest Indiana Jones movie. If you remember, very early on in the movie, he survives a nuclear explosion.
Of course,
via
famous.
a kitchen appliance.
Not only that, but he
refrigerator.
not only does he survive the blast, but he survives it bouncing around.
Yeah, and so where this comes from is having such an exciting moment like that. Like, that's freaking awesome. It's like at that point, the rest of the movie, he's not going to be in any more danger than he was earlier. Like, he's in a fist fight with some Nazi probably. I'm not scared. He could survive a nuclear holocaust if he wanted to.
That's
He's
true.
Harrison Ford. It's you could say that about Suicide Squad. Is they nuked the fridge right there early on in the movie. And it's like, well, it's not going to get better than this.
Right.
Yeah, like
Spend all your juice.
then there's no more Batman, and no one, and I really just didn't care. And no one's story was special to me. Like nothing really. It was just like regurgitated shit. And then
Well, and by the end, it kind of just turns into a Ghostbusters remake, right?
yeah, across the streams.
We all have to cross our streams to like stop this evil ancient goddess who's making a sky beam.
That's why I thought like I loved the Iron Man series, and not to go into Marvel, but like I felt like Iron Man 3 had like just let me down at the end. Just right at the end. It was great until just the very end, and it was just like, oh, this old chestnut.
I'll tell you how I sort of feel about it. And when you have an ensemble like that, It requires a certain touch that they didn't have in the first movie. I don't know if James Gunn will remedy it. I'm sure he's more than capable of it. But it's like I feel like they had great characters that they couldn't really touch on. They just
Yeah.
focused on Harley and Deadshot, and I
Yeah.
did like what I learned about those characters. But I think the some of the other ones had a lot more I could learn
Yeah.
from as well. Is her name Katana? Is that the woman's name?
Yeah.
Samurai Chick. I love her as a character. She's got a great story, but we get it for literally like 60 seconds,
Yeah.
and that's like the most you get out of her. Yeah, I mean I think that's where they're lacking is like I could have spent another hour watching a better director do this, and maybe I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So
literally like zero character development.
having said everything that we said about the first one, I do think, and so we don't confuse our viewers, that we just like absolutely have no hope in Suicide Squad. I think we all are on the same page that if anyone could resurrect this idea and make it good, it would be James Gunn.
Oh,
Our
absolutely.
our Lord in the year of our Lord made James Gunn cometh down and rescue the Suicide Squad.
Well, and let
from
me
damnation.
before we get too deep into it, I will say we know from experience because of what he's done, obviously with Guardians of the Galaxy, is he's really good at taking not well. First of all, he's really good with an ensemble cast, like period. And it sounds like really weird, but we know this from like when he's writing and producing fucking the live action Scooby Doo movies. Like I want to say like he's really good at like character balance. A and B, he's really good at taking characters that no one even knows about and suddenly making you like give a lot of shits about these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, no one knew, half of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. And all of a sudden, like you're invested in like what's going to happen to this raccoon and this fucking talking tree.
All of a sudden, he made probably like, I'm going to go ahead and say 90% of Star-Lord fans didn't know who Star-Lord was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna say that, and that's a bold statement, but that's good because that's a sign, and that's like I'm pretty sure I've seen Gunn in an interview basically saying that was his whole like mission. Like he likes to take the obscure characters and make them
relevant.
Yeah. So anyway, Suicide Squad 2, we definitely have high hopes. I think we're definitely all gonna go see it. And then next we're gonna shoot through this. We don't really need to have a conversation about Pennyworth because there's nothing to actually have a conversation about yet. All that we've really just gotten this tease, but they haven't told us much about it at all. Really, just to tune in September when they will actually give us more. So why they really even dangled it in front of us so early, I don't know. I guess just so they would talk about it.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't care.
No one asked for
it. No one asked.
No one asked. No one's asking for this.
Oh, well, if we're talking about Alfred, can I just say, like, I don't think there's been an Alfred character I have not enjoyed. I think every actor has portrayed them quite well. What is it? Andy Serkis is going to be playing it in the Batman. That's going to be cool.
That's going to be interesting.
I've loved every Alfred I've seen on screen, I believe.
The only one that was a little lacking is maybe the one in Joker, but it was so small,
Oh yeah. Yeah, never mind. Yeah.
He gave me more
not
like,
every Alfred.
He gave me more like Bodyguard vibes than like
True.
Wait, if the Pennyworth is coming from CW, it would be on that caliber, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I think is it not or
where is this coming from?
Well, to be fair, I'm not sure how long anything's going to be CW anyway, because one of the things they touched on, because I'm pretty sure Jim Lee is like taking over a lot of like that aspect, but I think they're looking at moving most DC television related properties over to HBO Max.
But not the DC streaming service?
No. What I'm saying is like that DC Direct might be on its way out.
Oh, that didn't last long.
No, I and the thing is, HBO already has like so many rights. Like, and I mean, we'll touch on it, but like we've got the Snyder Cut coming like I said, we got the GCPD series. Affleck just signed that contract, so like HBO is really kind of like putting their fingers in the DC universe.
Maybe it'd be like a merger.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, that's shocking.
Why?
Much like our next topic. Guys, I think it's going to be my thing that I have terrible segues. Like, I feel like that's just going to have to be a
I
thing.
like it.
like I just terribly segue into the next thing.
Wait a minute. Have you ever wrote a segue?
I wrote it. No, actually.
I want to see that.
You want to see me on a Segway? Nobody wants to see that.
What?
Static Shock, everybody, is the next. That's a terrible transition. That was like not even a transition. I'm just saying words.
Well, in post,
Yeah.
it'll be great.
Speaking of terrible segues, Static Shock, everybody, is a comic that is basically being revived. It was around, when was it? Around early 90s, and it was introduced by Milestone Media. So I guess the Milestone Initiative or Comic Initiative is something that DC is doing now. So DC Comics is basically the publisher now. And it's gaining enough traction where it's going to get its own animated movie soon. But other than there being new material out there for you to get your paws on and read, and an animated cartoon to get excited for, that's really all they're giving us with this. They will probably tell us more again in September.
September.
Is this the same Static Shock cartoon I watched when I was younger? Did you guys watch that?
Well, no, that's what I was saying. Like, I was thinking about that. Like, that was a pretty fucking rad cartoon, and I know it was important to a lot of people. Like, it's got a fan base, and a lot of people have been wanting new Static Shock material for a long time. I think he's definitely made, like, because in the show he's a kid. I think he's made more like adult appearances, like in other animated DC material. But he's always a B character. He hasn't been featured like since that cartoon that we watched back in the 90s or early 2000s. So I think that's super fucking cool.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think he's like movie material, but if it's like an animated movie, you're like, sure, why not? Like,
Well, yeah, and I mean DC does like so much.
And I think
that's one thing.
Well, I think it's a good thing too, because it's not to get too topical, but at the same time, it's a black-owned comic print that is exclusively handled by black characters.
Well, that's really fucking cool. I think that's important.
more of that, please.
Something like Static Shock is important right now. The animated movie thing, especially like if that's the case and not like another show, like if it is an animated movie, that's awesome. Because one thing, like I know people have their opinions, and like we're talking about it very proactively because I know we're excited about most of the stuff we're talking about, but people have their opinions about like DC as a whole, but their animated stuff, it's always like so on point. The artwork's so cool. Because it's not live action, it gives them like the opportunity to explore things and storylines and intermingle characters we might not ever see together on screen. So I'll say, like, personally, I've enjoyed most DC animated stuff, and I'd be so glad to check out a Static Shock animated feature.
Matt dishes out a nice, hot, steamy topic.
Some gossip.
All right, next up, what do y'all feel about the Snyder cut of Justice League? Unfortunately, we got to wait like a whole year for it, but I'm looking forward to it. I need something to get the taste out of my mouth from the original cut.
Yeah, it's still a little bit of speculation, but it was reported earlier today via a potential leak from a Warner Brothers press site, like for release materials, that it's supposed to be, what did I say earlier? I think September 21st, 2021, which is so agonizing because not like obviously I am one of the few that actually enjoyed the first cut for what it was, like not knowing that anything else was ever an option. I'm like, okay, this is Justice League. I'll take it at face value. I'm overwhelmingly excited for this, but I'm really fucking curious to know what Matt thinks, because when we were first talking about the possibility that the Snyder Cut was a real thing, like I sent you guys teaser images and everything, Matt, you were fucking sleeping on this. Like you didn't give two shits.
I don't.
No,
I didn't. I don't. Well, I do now. I will say I do now, but I didn't for a long time because one, when they first started talking about it, I was like, it's not going to even happen. So who cares, you know? And then, you know, I was disappointed with the cut that we got. And I just was like, I had just kind of written it off completely. But the reason I'm excited about it now is actually a pretty good story and has nothing to do with any conversation that we've had prior. It has everything to do with an interview that I saw with Zack Snyder, between Zack Snyder and I don't remember her name, but this is a woman that was part of a petition group that worked for years to get this made. And they got like hundreds of thousands of signatures and like just, you know, put in like so much work. And it was weird to me because like typically, if you had backed up like 2 years or so, well, back up pre-Sonic the Hedgehog, all right? Back up pre-Sonic the Hedgehog, I would have just called these people crybabies, you know? I would have been like, that's not how movies get made. Like, you can't whine about something. You can't, you know, and I just called it whining. I didn't really, like, validate it as like, something that needed to be addressed until Sonic the Hedgehog, because that was the first time I was like, wait a minute, like Sonic actually does look like asshole. Like, you know, like, you know, and then like for the first time ever, at least in my world, for the first time ever, the fans won. Well, the fans spoke out and the creators did something about it. And so
while you were saying that, like, and that's why, like, you have that general mentality, like you said, pre-Sonic the Hedgehog, is because we so far have grown into a world where like studios have, like, there might be a good director attached to a project, but studios have their vision of what they want a movie to be. But I think we're living, like, as time goes on, we're living in an age where the filmmakers are also the fan. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like
you're seeing it more.
Well, like in regards to Zack Snyder specifically, like I know here recently he's obviously been like very much so associated with like the like Justice League debacle, but we like need to remember that like this isn't his first rodeo. And we've all praised him before in the past. Like I know all three of us have very much so enjoyed like Watchmen.
Right.
That there are several parts of that movie that are literally like frame by frame, and that's what really like it's got to make you wonder like what's changed in the time in which that came out, because it's obvious they tried so hard to make that like as true.
Also, I mean, you might know, I don't know the specifics, so you might be able to fill me in on this. But so like Zack Snyder, you know, he came in to make Justice League, but for whatever reason, didn't he get pulled off midway through? Well, and then Joss Whedon come in and take over?
It's a really unfortunate story in which his daughter committed suicide.
Okay.
And so he left the project for very obvious, like, personal reasons. But, I mean, and Jesse said it himself earlier, like, it would have been awesome if they had just, like, pushed it back until Zach was, like, ready to come back.
I think they must have had too much, like, studio pressure. I believe they were competing with, what was it, the first Avenger, the first part of Avengers?
Yeah, Avengers was on the up and up, so like they were trying to fast track this thing. And
all right, so I was right with it being Joss Whedon that took it over.
Yes, and that's another thing to note is like almost in that like competitive like race for like cinematic dominance, Joss Whedon is a writer on Avengers, like as a comic book, and I think he had a hand in the first film.
So this is what I have to say about that. All right, because all right, so here's the thing about Joss Whedon. I actually like him. All right, so like I'm not. So when I say I didn't like Justice League, I'm not like completely shitting on it like the way I did Suicide Squad. I want you guys and I want our listeners to understand how I feel about Mr. Whedon. I love him in a sense that his style, if you think about it, is like always like kind of serious with a little bit of goof. All right. So like think about like if you go back to like the first movie that I can remember of his, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Okay. Think about that. We got a world where there's vampires and death and killing, and it's very like a kind of a dark topic, but you also have so much goof in there that you could almost, it's basically a comedy. I'm pretty sure it's just straight up a comedy. Okay, it's got a little bit of goof, and even with the Buffy vampire, even with the Buffy TV show, it's the same thing. It's like serious issues, serious topics, but he's got to throw that goof in there. And
where Justice League failed.
Yeah, that's where Justice League failed. It's serious. We established this dark universe with Batman versus Superman, everything leading up to this point. We established the feel of it already, and then Josh Whedon comes in here and just starts throwing his goof in there. Just mixing it in, and that's why we got this, and so though I like Whedon, he's good on his own when he sets out to do his own thing. It's great, but you can't bring him in to finish what someone else started, or he's just gonna throw his goof in there.
How good are y'all at imagination?
I mean, I'd like to think 10 out of 10.
Like sexually?
I'm thinking imagine you decided you were making a sandwich.
Yeah.
You're the chef of this sandwich, but halfway through you had to go use the bathroom, and when you came back, a different chef came in
and they put fucking sardines and shit in there.
Turned it into a fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizza or something.
Little Cool Whip. Put a little Cool Whip.
This is what you come back from the kitchen to see, and you're like, well, of course no one's gonna eat that. I think that's basically what happened to Justice League. You can tell where one person started and where the other
up where they left off. It's such a disservice. That is why it like what you're saying is it stands out as literally almost at the halfway point there's a complete tonal change,
Right.
And honestly, think about you guys making a movie or something, and can you imagine someone else having to interpret half of it for you and then watching it and saying,
I mean, I wouldn't want to.
No. Imagine.
That's actually the only reason that Jamie and I are have been film partners so long, is because I truly believe that, and it's an anomaly, that he is the only one that could have a chance at doing something that I started and vice versa. But if it wasn't that way, I wouldn't even try.
You would just wait, right?
Yeah,
that's
I would just
smart
wait.
Thing to do. I'm just gonna fucking make it the best that it can be, and wait a minute. Are you listening to Warner Brothers?
I mean, they already make us wait 10 million years anyway.
Fucking A.
I think even as I would say, Jamie, you're a huge fan of Zack Snyder. Is that fair to say?
Fucking love Zack Snyder.
I would say not even you would be able to pick up where he left off.
And a lot of people, man, I don't want to get too far in this because we definitely should move on to the next topic in a minute. But just to say, I don't understand, because there are some serious Zack Snyder haters out there, and I just want to say I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like the Watchmen.
Wait. What did you just say, Jesse?
Well, Matt told them what he had to say.
What did you say? What did you say?
What I said to them was go fuck yourself.
I just wanted to be clear. But also, before we move on, one thing we've kind of made a habit of is we get really caught up on the past, and we haven't talked too much about the present. Having watched, again, Matt did not give two shits, and now he does. Having watched this trailer, what is the takeaway?
Is this for Matt specifically?
Well,
No,
because it's not
I want to know what everyone's feeling.
because it's not like a like a trailer, you know, which I don't think we need because everyone we still know what the movie is about, you know, like we don't need a recap on that. I really just looked at it as like a showcase more so than anything else, like a show reel. And so like I'll have to say like it didn't blow my mind like some other stuff, but only because like, you know, I'm seeing the same thing again, maybe from like a different perspective. But I am excited because I did watch the interview with Snyder, and that was what excited me more than the trailer, is actually watching. Well, it wasn't an interview, it was a panel. Like they did actual panels.
It's nice
so
to get that insight.
Yeah, so like really the panel I watched with him got me more excited than the actual trailer itself. And I'll just say, like, you know, just as a one talking point that I really like picked up is that when he was going in and literally saying that Cyborg was supposed to be the heart of the movie and that there was so much more of his storyline that we just got cut out completely. And he seemed very passionate in telling us that we're getting way more Cyborg storyline, and we're going to see just how he's like the glue of the team, and that also there's lots more of the Flash that we didn't get to see.
Well, you know, I think there's going to be more of everybody, and that's why it's notable also that this will not be like a movie traditionally. Instead, it is being released as a 4-part series, each part being 4 hours. So we're getting 4 hours of fucking Justice League.
I saw Zack Snyder had an interview and he was mentioning how Warner Bros. Kept mentioning to him a 2-hour flick. He kept telling him about it, and he was not taking them seriously. He thought they were literally joking with him, and he self-proclaimed. He said, "I know, like I'm notorious for running long movies. Like, am I not?" And so I think the first edit of the Justice League is just a product of Warner Brothers greed rather than letting an artist do their work.
Well, and what did you think? Having already kind of been excited about it, how do you feel about this new teaser?
Oh, I mean, I'll gladly watch a Zack Snyder 4-hour long movie like once a year, maybe. Like I still go back and watch the director's cut of Watchmen probably once a year or so. Like, not that it's exhausting to watch or anything, but it's like, you know, I watch a Zack flick and I'm satisfied. I'm good, baby.
Yeah, you like definitely take something away from it, and like what I think got me the most is having watched Justice League as it is a couple of times now. I can say, apart from a few very key things I saw in the trailer that I would want to see, most notably like that infamous shot of like Batman like standing on top of the gargoyle, you know, and like lightning flashing behind him. Obviously, we've seen that before. Otherwise, I'd say 98% of this trailer is stuff that I have not seen yet, and that makes this look like a completely different movie already. Real quick before we move on, I like really need a beverage. I'll be like super quick.
All right, you ready?
Let him get a sip. Let him grip it and rip it.
God, that's fucking good. Okay.
All right, guys, so we're going to move right along. Now, the next few topics, we're going to kind of just breeze over because we really don't know a lot yet. DC Fandome didn't give us too much about these other than that more information is coming. We have to assume that we will know more in DC Fandome September edition. But basically, we got Black Adam, Titans Season 3, Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video game. Right off the tip, we did get a little bit of a Black Adam teaser, but really nothing too much other than like we know what he looks like. That's about it there, guys. I don't know if you had any comments about anything that we mentioned. Nothing, again, like I said, nothing really noteworthy at this moment, but we have to expect something big, at least for Shazam 2. I'm pretty excited for Shazam 2. I don't know if you guys watched Shazam, the first one. It was much better than I expected it would be.
I'm not gonna lie, I slept on that just a little bit. I do want to watch it. I like Zachary Levi. I actually really like the energy from what I do know about Shazam. I just have not had a chance, and it's kind of a disservice.
Yeah.
Y'all want to know what I got?
What do you got?
Nothing. Just give me some Willem Dafoe back in Aquaman. That's all I want.
What about you did have, because you did look up something about Suicide Squad, the killing the Justice League. So it was made by the people who did the Arkham games?
Yeah. So whereas like we weren't very excited about, like, I guess you could say the material, the source material, like we're not big like Suicide Squad fans. Obviously we're fans of the studio that made the game, so I think we can expect some cool gameplay. That's all I can really have to say about it.
Well, is that going to be one of those things that's in between PS4 and PS5, or do we know that that's going to be like a PS5 game?
I haven't heard anything about which consoles or systems that Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad will be on. Maybe it'll be on both.
Again, we really just don't know that much. I mean, even from the trailer itself, it was only a cinematic, so we don't really even know what the gameplay is like.
Well, that's partially why I asked, just because, like, from what I did see, if that is potentially the quality of some of the cinematics, I'd love to see what that looks like running through the PS5, because that was impressive.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is now time for the coup de grace, the cherry on top of the podcast Sunday. William Dafoe. No, hold on.
As Batman.
As Batman. Oh, fucking A.
The Batman. Let's go, guys. Thoughts? We know we got a lot to say. I know every one of us wants to weigh in on this. So I'm going to go ahead and let whoever wants to go first go ahead and speak up.
I'm going to talk about what you two are afraid to talk about.
I'm not scared of anything.
I think that is historically untrue.
That is a blatant lie.
There's video evidence.
Jamie, I want you to apologize to our listeners.
For what?
You just lied.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I did it bad. Guys, I'm sorry. I can't promise it'll never happen again. But for the time being, please accept my sincerest apologies.
What the fuck is the Penguin doing here?
What do you mean?
We've seen the man in the makeup, the Colin Farrell Penguin man. And I'm disappointed. I haven't seen any little penguins in the trailer with little rockets on their backs that they walk around the city with.
Well, because I don't think that's something he generally does.
I guess if it doesn't work the first time, don't do it. But history repeats itself. I'm still holding out some hope.
Well, one thing I love is how completely on the opposite end of the spectrum this is from like a Tim Burton universe. I just want to say the dark and gritty really is appealing to me. But like, here, you know what? Since I'm already running my mouth, let me just go ahead and give my 2 cents on the whole thing. So I have lots of thoughts. I'm going to try and condense them. But first things first, and I think Jamie will agree. One thing that every movie that we've gotten so far has seemingly forgotten is that who is the greatest detective? Well, who is the world's greatest detective?
Sherlock Holmes.
No, that's Batman.
Blue's Clues.
Right?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, Blue's Clues.
You didn't think about Blue, didn't you?
Dang.
No. But anyway, my point is that something the movies have always failed to convey is that Bruce Wayne is doing like detective shit during the day. He's investigating stuff. He's not just playing the playboy, troublemaker. He's doing stuff, and putting things together. And I think that that's perfect for this villain. Obviously, we have the Riddler, so who better to, have Bruce Wayne going around and getting clues everywhere than this guy. But that's something that right off the bat, when I'm watching the trailer, I'm looking and I'm saying, like, obviously I could be seeing scenes that are out of context, but to me it looks like, because we're seeing a lot of Bruce Wayne in different locations, and definitely in the beginning, like, Commissioner Gordon is standing in the room with Batman. Seemingly, I mean, of course, again, it could be cut weird, like it might not be the same scene at all, but for at least what it looks like is that this is like some classic, like, you know, Gordon handing over some clues and Batman like standing there like kind of working with them, working with the police. And then, by day he's out, investigating and doing stuff. So that's, right off the bat, that's hitting me in somewhere sexy, somewhere saucy. And
It's hitting me somewhere.
it's hitting me somewhere saucy. And then there's a lot of like weird stuff that I picked up. But maybe I'll go into that. Maybe I should give someone else a chance to talk before I start talking about just the weird, obtuse things that I picked out of the trailer that I'm really curious if anyone else noticed.
Yeah, Jamie, I talked about the little penguins, so if you want to talk about something, I'll let you do that.
Well, I just want to say, like, imagine like spending millions. I mean, probably I'm exaggerating a little bit, but something I've seen this circulate online a lot. Spending millions of like dollars and hours, like putting the great Colin Farrell through like makeup, only to have him end up looking like Richard Kind.
I've seen that meme, and it's not untrue.
No, he looks exactly like this other actor, and I mean, a lot of people will know him from like a lot of other TV shows and movies and stuff. And maybe there was even like a specific reason they didn't use him other than like marketability, because technically he does actually play like the mayor of Gotham on the Gotham Fox TV show. But
I also don't believe. I don't know, maybe I don't know him as well as I think I do, but I don't know that he's made for. Well, I don't mean he's not made for them, but I haven't seen him do anything like this dark or dramatic. I don't know if how his acting range is, like,
or like action, but also like and only because we're talking a lot about the Penguin. Like, first and foremost, there's actually a lot of villainous things to take in from this trailer, but because we got that glimpse of the Penguin, obviously they're taking a very different route with him. A lot of things that I've seen like touched on in regards to like ways the Penguin could be used in the past, and we've seen it before in other mediums, is to have him be more of like an arms dealer. So it's a completely different like criminal activity, but it also like kind of, it's why he has like specialized weapons himself. So we might still see some like ridiculousness in a sense to like a fucking machine gun like umbrella, but in a way that makes sense. Almost like how you accept that something like that could exist in like the Kingsman movies, Like there's practicality behind it.
sure, I could see that happening.
But that just to put like a real world sense on it. But like also, again, talking about villains, we know the Riddler plays a key role in this film. We have to assume that that's his voice throughout the entire thing. Like, do we know that that's him, like, in the weird, like, rapping mask, like, duct taping the dude at the beginning?
We do. That is the
Because
Riddler.
it's weird.
I mean, I guess we don't know for sure. It could be.
I have read. I believe that is him.
I mean, it does look like it could be Paul Dano, which, by the way, I don't know if you know much about this actor, but he actually is a phenomenal younger actor.
I've seen a lot of people really excited that he's in this.
A lot of people, well, I don't know, basically a movie that sticks out to me is the Swiss Army Man. It's a very weird movie, but he plays the main character alongside Daniel Radcliffe. That movie, he like carries the movie most of the way, and it's just he's so good, and he could be so creepy. And I've seen him be creepy in other movies too. I can't remember the name of it right now.
There will be blood. There will be blood. I believe you're doing a disservice if you don't
mention that. Yeah, I mean, like basically, this guy is perfect for this role. So I'm excited about that. I'm
interested to see him. Well, because like we haven't gotten like a serious take on Riddler, and we haven't seen Riddler on the big screen since Batman Forever. So I think that'll be super interesting. And the reason I had to ask is because, like, I mean, I guess I didn't expect him to be wearing like a green mask or anything, but like what he is wearing almost gives me like Hush vibes, which is a completely different like Batman villain, but he's kind of got like the head wrap, like Dark Man thing going on.
Well, we don't know like how it's just a trailer. You could put on
Right.
a different attire at some
But like
point.
also like and Riddler makes so much sense because one of the Easter eggs people picked up is apparently like on that first clue, because Matt, you had mentioned like the scene from the trailer, like the greeting card or whatever that Commissioner Gordon opens has an owl on the front of it, and like with golden eyes, and it act like Gordon's reading it. He actually says like who, like it's a play on that it is an owl. So going back to what we were talking about with the Gotham Knight games, and the reason that I gave a little bit of insight there is people speculate also that what did I call them? Oh, I couldn't remember the name. The Court of the Owls. Yeah, people are speculating that the Court of the Owls might also play a major role in this story. And while they are kind of this underground secret society really pulling the strings in Gotham, Riddler may have insight into that and is essentially trying to exploit them. And that's why there's the whole thing about like justice and lies and stuff like that. So he's like digging deep into the underground and trying to like dismantle that, you know?
It's kind of like the Gotham Illuminati.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what it's like.
You know what? I think that sounds really cool. I think that sounds like an excellent way to set up the next big bad.
Well, and it's also like going back to what Matt said, like it's investigative, like not only on Batman's part, but like there's like some secret shit going on here that needs to be looked into. And remember what I said earlier about the Waynes being tied closely to the Court of the Owls. At the end of this trailer, we hear Riddler's voice saying like, "You're tied to all of this," and Bruce is like, "How?" And he's like, "You'll see." So
You know what I think would be wild? I don't know if I'm right in the movie or not, but it's like we know there's a young Bruce. He doesn't quite have a code yet. Imagine him like, thinking he wins the day over. He caught the Riddler, decided, you know what, I'm not gonna like do too bad on this guy. I'm gonna hand him over to the authorities and have him face justice for his crimes. And then the Court of Owls, what if they just decide to fucking murk the Riddler, and then that's when Batman sort of like gets his code and like realizes like, wow, I was right. You can't just go killing folks. I don't know.
He might even start like to question things, because it's like, well, what was the point? He ended up dead anyway.
Maybe there was truth to what he's saying. This is all speculation.
Right. No, the thing is, like, we still know so little, and like there's so much to take in, because and it's almost scary because it makes me nervous actually. Like when I think multiple villains in a movie, it can go one of two ways. It can go Batman Returns, which actually worked really, really well, right? Like there's no arguing that like the Burton verse is awesome. Everyone loves it. You can't really complain about that. Or you get a Spider-Man 3 where everything seems like really crammed in there, because like we've talked about Penguin, we've talked about Riddler. We've already seen in the trailer that we're also dealing with Selena Kyle. Like we've got Catwoman in there. Plus, I don't know if we've seen him in the trailer or not, but like someone has been cast as Harvey Dent. So I mean, Matthew fucking McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey's in this flick as Harvey Dent. So they specifically say that. They don't say Harvey Dent Two-Face. So I think we're definitely like, because this is like early on in Batman's career, this will be what is he? What's his role within the government?
He's a district attorney.
The justice, yeah. So I think we're going to see District Attorney Harvey Dent, and this could even, we want to talk like introduction to big baddies. We could even see like the creation of Two-Face within this movie to like set that up for a future endeavor. So I mean, there's so much to take in. I think a lot of people had a lot of doubts, and that doubt has been like immediately lifted, because I haven't seen like, there's jokes obviously, because I mean Batman's got this emo thing kind of going on, but I haven't seen anyone say anything like inherently bad
Yeah.
about this trip.
And this is actually where I want to like tap back in. So, and I'll get to the weird things I noticed. Well, really, it's just one weird thing in particular, which is why I'm glad that you brought up Harvey Dent. But first, let me just say that one thing, another thing I should say is is that I'm excited that this movie feels much more grounded in some form of reality that like people can believe. You know, it's like if you notice the Batmobile is not some crazy thing that like would just be unobtainable really in real life. Like you can tell that it's just like an old muscle car that's just been like, you know, souped up with some money, you know, thrown, you know, someone with a relative amount of money, which Bruce has, realistically beefed it up and made it into what it is. You know, it doesn't look like some form of crazy technology that doesn't exist yet. You know, it's not a freaking tank, which we know. You know, we liked it, but like the tank era is over. You know, looking back, it is kind of ridiculous, especially for an early Batman, which is what this is supposed to be. Also, you know, that same mentality going into his suit. You know, we didn't even talk about his. You know, the questionable bat symbol on his chest. What is it? You know, I've heard speculation that it's made from pieces of the gun that killed his parents. I like to just I think that that's too cool of an idea, you know, wearing the murder weapon of your parents around. I think that's an awesome idea, but I'm going to go ahead and say that it's just his batarang. He could probably pull it off and throw it.
I kind of hope not, because that feels like something that's made to like sell an action figure, you know?
Yeah, maybe, but I feel like that's what they're gonna do. Like, I'm not saying I want it to be that. I'm just saying that, like, you know, this might be another one of those instances where the idea is just too cool and Hollywood's not gonna let us have it. You know,
I think there might be something to that, like something took a rumor and like extrapolated it, because like almost going back to like what you said about the Batmobile and how it's like scrapped together. Like I think it could just, I mean, it might even just be like pieces of metal, honestly.
yeah,
Because one thing that I've observed that other people are kind of picking out as well, and is there are parts of this movie that seem to hark back to what was originally supposed to be, and this was before Christopher Nolan was around to do Batman Begins. There was going to be a movie written and directed by Darren Aronofsky, who is very famously known for like Requiem for a Dream.
mm-hmm.
And he wrote the whole script out. I've read it, and so that's why I can definitely see some of the influence here. But he was going to do Batman Year One, and within that script, like Bruce actually seems like somewhat unaware of his inheritance. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case here, but he spends most of his life growing up and working in a junkyard owned by a guy called Big Al, whose real name is Alfred. And his parents like left him in the care of Alfred to like raise him, but like they didn't want him to like be spoiled or anything. They just wanted him to have like a good life. So they leave him in the care of Alfred, and he ends up, you know, doing his Batman thing. But in that script, like he does just that. He takes like, and one thing that it really reminds me of is like, you know how in that first Thomas Jane Punisher movie, he like takes that muscle car and like armors it out and shit. That's what this makes me think of, and that's what happened in that Darren Aronofsky script, is because essentially he has all the materials around him, so he's kind of scrapping things together. And that was a very dark, gritty, like down to earth script. And actually, coincidentally, that script was supposed to take place in the 80s, and it's said that this movie is kind of going that same route. That's one thing to remember, is, and they haven't addressed it yet, like in any sort of like publicity sort of way. But this film is not modern. It's almost like the Joker in the sense that it's a period piece.
Well, that almost raises other questions, but perhaps those will come in a different podcast. I had two other things that were on my mind before I like forget, but I was talking about. So I was talking about weird things. So I was talking about weird things that I noticed, and then you brought up Matthew McConaughey as Harvey.
Can I just interject there that's not confirmed? That was a rumor started last year. He hasn't been announced for. They've released most of the cast, but I mean, unless it's a secret, at this point, it's still just a rumor.
Really?
Well, what I'm about to say is neither here nor there as far as if it's Matthew McConaughey or anything. But if you notice, it's basically during the brutal beatdown scene in the trailer, which if anyone has seen, is probably would have to agree it's the coolest part. Batman just basically wipes the floor with this dude's face. The camera cuts up and you see, the people with their painted faces like watching, but there's one kid in particular that looks frightened and like, oh my God, like, what the hell are we doing? Like, this guy is going to kill it. This guy's going to beat us all up. But if you look at his face, only half of his face is actually painted, and it's too perfectly clean to be accidental.
Right.
Half his face is, right down the middle.
That, which is weird because isn't everyone else basically
full face paint? Yeah.
Right.
Sort of joke reminiscent of the Joker.
Yeah, there's a lot of different speculation and theories about who those people are as a whole. Also, like, just while we're on the topic of that scene, can we agree that like Batman didn't just beat that guy? It's very likely that gentleman is dead.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. Like, if this is early Batman, this could be Batman like before he has a code.
Well, no, I mean, codes aside, like, just watch the way he's hitting him. He's like, let's not forget, Batman's got blades on his arm. Like, he's definitely like slicing this dude up, like, at the least. He's not just beating him. Like, this dude's getting cut.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, like, I don't know if this Batman's gonna have any rules yet. Not that Batman's like really ever had rules. I know people like to say he's had rules, but dude, Batman kills people all the time.
I mean, go back to, like, we were talking about Batman Returns. He literally straps a bomb to a guy and like chucks him down a well.
Yeah.
So, like, don't lie and say
you literally see the guy blow up in the background.
Right.
In the original comics, he actually had a gun.
Right. So,
which I'm glad he doesn't have a gun anymore, but like even in the first movie, like one of the biggest times where I'm like, oh, yep, definitely people died, is when he basically drives his Batmobile like into the shit, puts all the armor comes out, and then he drops grenades off the side of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, no one actually.
Those were non-lethal.
Non-lethal grenades, yeah. So anyway, needless to say, like, this Batman like may not even have have like this code yet, and it might be like a lesson. Maybe he like does go too far, and that's going to be part of the story. He's going to start developing, rules for himself if he's going to continue being Batman.
When I'll like one thing I definitely want to touch on is like, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, the fact that like a lot of people had doubts going into this, and I think it's just because of like a public, like, not like a general understanding of what people think of Robert Pattinson. And before, like, maybe the past 2 years, when you think Robert Pattinson, you either think Twilight or you think Cedric. Obviously, he plays Cedric, right? In Harry Potter. So, but like, we're all kind of like, we like to sort of keep our finger on the pulse of like film, and so like I'm pretty sure Jesse has too, but like I've seen him in things recently, like The Lighthouse. Yeah, he did like a really weird, like, off-kilter indie like Western film called like The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
I just recently saw a film on Netflix where he plays like a drug addict dealer, just completely opposite spectrum of what you would think, and he just nailed it.
I can consider him brilliant.
No, that's what I'm leading up to. And I mean, he's got that other, I don't know, I can't remember if it's a series or like a Netflix original movie, but he's got that project coming up with Tom Holland. I can't remember the name of it. But point being, like,
Devil All the Time.
Right. Point, like the general understanding is this like pretty boy, but like Jesse said it and I'll say it myself, like, this dude's fucking good.
And the whole emo thing pisses me off. Okay, so here's the one thing. One thing. Hold on. One thing is, I'm pissed off. All right, and I'm gonna piss on someone right now.
Getting fired up.
All right. So here's the thing. All right. For one, they're saying that because of the black makeup. Oh, what's up with the black makeup? And Jamie, I know because you and I have had this conversation before that black makeup is a good thing, guys. You shouldn't be complaining about it because for once it's not making the mistake that every Batman movie makes. All right? Watch any other Batman movie. Look at the eyes when Bruce is wearing the mask and tell me there's not black makeup. All right? And then answer me this question. Where does that makeup go when he takes the mask off? It just disappears. All right?
I'm glad someone's saying it.
So the fact that he's got black makeup on, I'd really wish people would stop just being like, oh, it's because they're going for this emo thing, this emo look. No, they're just being realistic. Batman wears makeup. I'm sorry, but he does. He always has.
One thing I will say, and it's just this weird little thing that I've always appreciated, like on the subject of like superheroes and makeup, is they did it in Kick-Ass 2. There's actually like this really big like build-up scene to the end battle, and you've got what almost seems like almost laughable, but again is totally realistic. You've got Nicolas Cage as Big Daddy, like he's literally in his bathroom in his apartment, like putting on like black makeup around his eyes because he's got to put that cowl on afterwards. So I will say, like, in regards to that might be the first time that we've ever seen like that practicality addressed like in a big budget superhero movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, guys, the Batman has obviously been our hottest topic of discussion. Had a lot to mull over with just one small trailer, so that's good. We all know Batman's got the biggest toys, and we just love watching this big dark boy do his big dark stuff. Am I right?
Let the Batman hunt, Big Juice.
Let the Batman hunt. And if you guys are ready to wrap it up, like let's put a bow on it, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. God damn it!
Matt, what the actual fuck?
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it.
That's the whole thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been our discussion on DC Fandom. Thanks for listening. Please be sure to tune in next time for the next episode of Rocket Sauce.
Continue the talk on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you'd like. Just look for White Tiger Filmz on your preferred social media platform. And what should we talk about next time?
We got a lot of really big stuff planned. We're still playing with the format. Guys, don't forget this was our first, but man, I hope we slap down your throat real smooth.
You're stuck on the sloppy Joe.
You never forget your first.
We them sloppy boys.